name is Atakofi, and I'm here to present on the topic why corporate governance and accountability are fundamental to business success. Okay, so this is what we cover under this presentation. Now, to the main argument. Somebody may ask, what is corporate governance? Corporate governance is a system by which companies are controlled and directed to ensure accountability, fairness, and transparency in the relationship between the management of the business, the board of directors, the shareholders, and other stakeholders. This is according to Cadbury 1992. So this demonstrates that effective corporate governance and robust accountability mechanisms are not merely a compliance or just a compliance burden. They are the essential foundations for stakeholders' trust, capital access, risk management, and long-term sustainability in the global economy. Corporate governance has become one of the most defined issues of modern business practices. The collapse of businesses like Enron in 2001, global financial crisis in 2008, and the Wirecard scandal in 2020 all illustrate how weak governance structures and inadequate accountability mechanisms can devastate firms, investors, and entire society, as well as the economy. Therefore, effective corporate governance ensures stakeholders' trust. That is, governance signals integrity to investors, employees, and customers and communities. This also ensures the long-term sustainability of the business. Again, effective corporate governance and accountability also ensure capital access to businesses. That is, strong governance lowers cost of capital and opens global market. That is, this ensures credibility of the businesses that adopt this effective corporate governance and accountability. Again, it ensures long-term resilience. Okay, accountability mechanisms detect risk before they become crisis. So this ensures that the shareholders do not lose their investment. Again, it also puts the managers of the business at check to make sure that they are not working in their interest and ignoring the interest of the shareholders. Again, it ensures that all the other stakeholders are also protected to ensure the longevity of the business. So these three major factors make it inevitable for corporates to ignore effective corporate governance and robust accountability. Now let's look at the governance systems globally. Okay, there are four major models of corporate governance across the globe. The first one is Anglo-American, the second one is the continental European, the Asian, and the last but not the least is the emerging market. The Anglo-American model, okay, is prevalent in the United Kingdom and the United States of America. It is characterized by dispersed ownership, active capital market, and stakeholders or shareholders value. It places more emphasis on the shareholders value or shareholders supremacy. Right? Boards are typically one tier. That's one tier board, which comprises the executive and non-executive directors, and this also and with independent directors that plays an important role in ensuring critical monitoring of the managers and even as well as the board. Okay, so the advantages of this Anglo-American model is that it includes robust capital market that facilitates access to financing and strong investor protection. However, critics also argue that shareholders' primacy can encourage um, short-termism as managers focus on quarterly earnings rather than long-term sustainability. The 2008 financial crisis exposed the risk of excessive risk taking under this model, prompting reforms such as the Dodd-Frank Act, Dodd-Frank Act 2010, which introduced say on pay votes and stricter oversight of financial institutions. Now let's dive into the continental European, which is also normally practiced or is prevalent in Germany and France, where governance is shaped by concentrated ownership, often involving families, banks, or the state. The Germany two-tier board system separates supervisory boards from the management board. The supervisory board includes employees representatives under co-determination laws, reflecting a stakeholder-oriented approach. This model emphasizes long-term relationship and stakeholder balance. Advantages of this model, okay, includes stability, long-term investment horizon, and employee involvement in decision making. However, concentrated ownership can reduce minority shareholders' protection and limit transparency. The Germans, the Germans corporate governance code seeks to address these issues by promoting disclosure and board independence. The Asian model, that is a cross shareholding, which is normally practiced in the Japanese Kyochu and then the Korea Chabo. And then we also have the emerging market, which is characterized by state-owned, family-controlled, and concentrated ownership. Okay, and then this is the disadvantage of this model is corruption. They are normally characterized by corruption, which does not promote longevity of these businesses or sustainability of this is always at stake due to corruption. On this slide, we talk about the structures, duties, and control mechanisms. So with the structure, we have the one tier and the two tier. One tier in which is practiced in US or UK, and then the two tier board, which is also practiced in the America, where we have the supervisory and the management boards. And then some of the duties include duty of care, duty of loyalty, and good faith, strategy oversight of and CEO succession. When it comes to the accountability mechanisms, we have internal and external. So under the internal, we can talk about the internal audit and the risk management. And also under the external, we can talk about the external auditors and credit rating. And then financial media as well. These are some of the lessons learned from the major failures of some well-renowned corporations or corporates. Enron in 2001, Volkswagen in 2015, Wirecard in 2020, and FTS in 2022. Contemporary challenges and what every leader must understand today. ESG and sustainability is key. Technology and cybersecurity, executive compensation, board diversity and inclusion, supply chain governance, and controlling shareholders. These are some of the things that today's executives must understand to ensure sustainability of the corporate that they are in charge. This slide talks about recommendations for leaders to execute. For the boards must ensure oversight into ESG, cyber and human rights. Prioritize board diversity and independence, etc. etc. Senior executives are to build governance aware organizational cultures, reward ethical behavior, and sanction misconduct. Investors are to exercise voting rights on governance matters, engage with board on long-term strategy, and advocate for ESG and accountability disclosures. And also, the policymakers are to design adaptive principle-based regulatory framework to help especially the multinationals strengthen cross-border enforcement cooperation as well. Okay, so to conclude, corporate governance is not a burden, it is a competitive advantage. Corporate governance should be adhered to ensure the success of the business. Thank you.